My beloved brothers and sisters, one of the greatest sources of stress in life is the constant need to please people. From the moment we wake up, many of us subconsciously wear a mask not to protect ourselves, but to be accepted by others. We twist our words, we reshape our lives, and sometimes we even compromise our faith all just to make someone happy. But today, let me remind you of a truth that can set your heart free. You were not created to please the people, you were created to please Allah. One of the greatest forms of inner liberation begins the moment you realize you were never created for people's approval. You were not placed on this earth to gain likes, compliments, applause, or validation from anyone. You were created to worship your Creator, to strive for His pleasure, and to live your life in a way that brings you closer to Him. This is the essence of purpose, and when you forget this purpose, you begin to lose yourself. Many people today are living a life where their energy is being consumed trying to satisfy others, trying to fit into expectations, trying to act the part, trying to live a version of themselves that pleases society. But deep down, their hearts are empty. They smile outwardly but cry inwardly. They appear to have it all, yet their souls are restless. And the root cause is very often this dangerous pursuit, trying to please the creation instead of the Creator. When you live your life for people's approval, you become chained to their opinions. Your actions are no longer guided by right or wrong, truth or falsehood, but by popularity and acceptance. You start choosing your words carefully, not because they are just, but because they won't offend. You begin altering your appearance, not to improve yourself for the sake of Allah, but so people will approve of how you look. You start compromising on your values, not because you believe in change, but because you're afraid of being judged. This is not freedom. This is a subtle form of servitude. And this kind of life will drain you emotionally, spiritually, and even physically, because no matter how much effort you make, you will never be able to satisfy everyone. People are not consistent. Today they will praise you, tomorrow they may turn against you. They will applaud you for doing something they like and cancel you the moment you go against their expectations. And if your worth is tied to these ever-changing opinions, then you are destined to be constantly anxious. But when your goal is to please Allah, you become stable, you become grounded, because Allah's expectations are clear, His words are preserved, and His justice is perfect. When you walk a path to please Him, He rewards your efforts, He mends your brokenness, He forgives your shortcomings, and He gives you the strength to keep going even when others abandon you. Reflect on the lives of the prophets and the righteous. They were never people pleasers. They didn't walk around afraid of criticism. They didn't abandon the truth just because people were uncomfortable with it. They faced rejection, abuse, slander, and mockery, but they never swayed from their mission because their hearts were connected to Allah. They knew that the pain of people's rejection was temporary, but the reward of Allah's acceptance was eternal. And this is the mindset we need to nurture within ourselves. We are not here to be loved by all. We are here to be true to our faith, to live our purpose, and to die in a state where our Creator is pleased with us. When you remind yourself of this, you begin to find strength. You begin to recognize that saying no to others can sometimes be the greatest form of saying yes to Allah. Saying no to gatherings that involve gossip, no to trends that contradict your values, no to interactions that compromise your modesty, and no to habits that weaken your Imaan are not losses, they are victories. You may lose people in the process, but you gain inner peace. You may disappoint some, but you please the one who controls your risk, your future, your health, and your destiny. And when you live with this conviction, you'll find that you're no longer running after attention, you're no longer desperate for praise, you no longer crave validation from strangers. You become content in your silence, you become fulfilled in your sincerity, you begin doing the right thing even when no one is watching. That's when you taste the sweetness of Imaan. Because your actions are no longer a performance, they are a reflection of your faith. Your kindness is not done for recognition, it's done for reward. Your patience is not for applause, it's for the pleasure of your Lord. Your modesty, your prayers, your words, they are all offered as gifts to the one who gave you life. There's something beautiful about being able to walk away from a wrong just because it displeases Allah, even if the world applauds it. There's something noble about choosing silence over backbiting, even when everyone is talking. There's strength in resisting temptation, not because you're not human, but because you've trained your soul to value what matters most. And that strength doesn't come from popularity, it comes from connection. Connection with your Lord, connection with your values, Connection with the understanding that Jannah is not cheap and that living a life that pleases Allah may require you to sacrifice your ego, your desires, and even some friendships. But let me assure you of one thing. The one who lives for Allah's pleasure is never truly alone. Even if the world walks away, Allah sends angels to record your patience, to witness your tears, to honor your sincerity. He replaces toxic friendships with companions who love you for who you are. He removes those who use you and sends those who value your deen. He fills your heart with a peace that no one else can offer. And slowly you begin to feel whole again, not because people love you, but because Allah does. And here is the reality that many of us need to reflect on. Trying to please everyone is not only impossible, but it is a path that leads you away from your purpose. It is a distraction. Because when your energy is invested in chasing people's approval, you lose focus on your worship. You start shortening your prayers, not because you're busy, but because you're afraid of being judged. You avoid speaking the truth, not because it's wrong, but because it's unpopular. You start dressing a certain way, not because it's halal, but because it's trendy. And before you know it, you've lost touch with your faith, and you don't even recognize yourself anymore. Now let us look at the second truth that complements the first. When you live for people's praise, you will die by their criticism. If your confidence is built on compliments, then the moment someone criticizes you, your self-worth collapses. This is why so many people today suffer from low self-esteem. They've built their value on what others say. One harsh comment ruins their day. One unfollow makes them feel rejected. One disagreement makes them question their identity. This is what happens when your foundation is weak. And the only way to rebuild is to anchor yourself in something stronger than public opinion. Anchor yourself in the Quran. Anchor yourself in sincere dua. Anchor yourself in your relationship with Allah. Because when your goal is to please Him, even the most brutal criticism can't shake you. You become like a tree whose roots are deep. The winds of opinion may blow, but your heart stays firm. You no longer fear being misunderstood. You no longer panic when you're excluded. You find strength in solitude. You find contentment in obedience. And even when your heart feels heavy, you lift it in prayer and find healing. People will always talk. They will always judge. Some will misunderstand your kindness. Others will question your faith. Some will mock your modesty. Others will doubt your sincerity. But none of them have a key to your Jannah. None of them write your destiny. None of them know your heart the way Allah does. So don't let their words define you. Don't let their opinions limit you. Let your values guide you. Let your faith protect you. Let your love for Allah elevate you. And when you feel weak, remind yourself that even those who were loved by Allah the most were criticized the most. Even those who were guided faced rejection. Even those who were the most truthful were called liars. And yet they remain firm, not because people believed in them, but because they believed in their mission. And if you walk that same path seeking nothing but Allah's pleasure, you too will rise. You too will overcome. You too will be remembered, not by the number of likes or followers, but by the sincerity in your heart and the strength in your Imaan. How often do we find ourselves drained, exhausted, and spiritually lost not because we've taken on the burdens of life for the sake of Allah, but because we've broken ourselves trying to live up to someone else's expectations? Every day, many of us sacrifice our peace, our values, and our time just to keep people happy. We smile when we are hurting. We agree when we should disagree. We attend gatherings we know will harm our faith. We engage in conversations that make our hearts uncomfortable. And we do all of this not for any higher purpose, but simply because we are afraid of being disliked, afraid of being left out, afraid of being misunderstood. But in the process, we are breaking ourselves to fix someone else's image of who they want us to be. And this is not only unfair, it is deeply harmful. We were not created to become mirrors reflecting what others expect from us. We were created with a purpose. That purpose is to live in a way that pleases our Creator, in truth, in sincerity, in humility, and in dignity. The more we lose ourselves trying to meet the standards set by those around us, the further we drift from the standards set by the one who created us. People will always have something to say. They will always demand something more. And even when you meet their demands, they will find something else to criticize. You will never be enough in their eyes, no matter how much you change, bend, or sacrifice. And that is because their expectations are built on their own desires, not on your reality or your worth. But Allah never asks you to become someone you're not. He asks you to be sincere. He asks you to be patient. He asks you to hold firm to the truth. And when you do that, you may lose people, but you gain His pleasure. There are times when we feel pressure from family, from friends, from society to act a certain way, to speak a certain way, to conform to lifestyles that we know go against our values. And when we refuse, we are labeled. We are called extreme. We are told that we are too rigid, too serious, too boring. But the truth is, the moment you start compromising your values to please people, you've already started losing a part of your soul. It begins slowly. At first, it's a laugh at an inappropriate joke. Then it's silence in the face of backbiting. Then it becomes acceptance of sinful gatherings. Then it reaches the point where the things you once disliked become normal. And before you know it, you're no longer yourself. You're living a version of life designed by others, not by your own conscience or your own faith. And this kind of life brings no true joy, no lasting satisfaction. It is so important to realize that not every opportunity is worth your peace. Not every invitation deserves your presence. Not every trend is meant to be followed. You must protect your heart. You must guard your soul. You must understand that you don't have to be at every event. You don't have to respond to every message. You don't have to meet every expectation. It is okay to walk away. It is okay to say no. It is okay to choose your well-being, your faith, your values. And if someone truly respects you, they will understand. If they don't, then perhaps they were only attached to the version of you that served their comfort, not the real you that seeks Allah's pleasure. There is something powerful about saying, I cannot do this because it goes against what I believe. There is dignity in holding your ground when everyone else is moving. There is strength in walking alone on a path of truth than being carried by a crowd on a path of falsehood. This world has a way of glamorizing disobedience, of normalizing sin, of beautifying rebellion. But the heart of the believer recognizes that inner peace does not come from pleasing the world. It comes from pleasing the one who created the world. And this is why when you live to please Him, even if the whole world turns against you, you will find serenity in your soul. The truth is, not everyone will understand your journey. Not everyone will understand your prayers, your decisions, your silence, your rejections. But they don't have to. You are not accountable to them. You are accountable to the one who knows what is hidden in your heart, who understands your tears before they fall, who appreciates your sacrifices even when no one else sees them. And when you live with that awareness, you become unshakable. You stop being so easily swayed by comments. You stop feeling pressured to impress. You begin to move through life with a sense of purpose, a sense of contentment, because you know that the only approval that matters is the one that comes from above. There are people who will only love you when you agree with them. They will only support you when you fit into their mold. The moment you start growing, the moment you start choosing your faith over their comfort, they begin to distance themselves. But don't let that discourage you. Sometimes Allah removes people from your life not as a punishment, but as a protection. Sometimes He separates you from environments that were poisoning your soul, even if it looked fun on the outside. And the more you focus on Him, the more you start to see His wisdom in every separation, in every rejection, in every moment of solitude. We must remember that the one who lives to please people may gain their company temporarily, but the one who lives to please Allah gains His companionship eternally. And this brings us to another powerful. Truth-pleasing people might cost you your peace, but pleasing Allah brings you tranquility. You cannot buy inner peace. You cannot fake it. You cannot pretend to have it if your heart is filled with conflict, guilt, and regret. But when you choose to obey Allah, even when it is hard, even when it goes against your desires, you will be gifted with a peace that no one can steal from you. Obedience brings peace, modesty brings peace, honesty brings peace, repentance brings peace. And the strange thing is, the world might mock you for it. They may laugh at your choices, criticize your simplicity, label your humility, but they cannot touch the peace that Allah places in your heart. That peace is divine. It is not attached to wealth, status, fame, or relationships. It is attached to sincerity. And that is why even the poorest believer can sleep with a calm heart, while the richest sinner may be tormented by anxiety. People often chase the illusion of happiness. They think it comes from having more friends, more followers, more recognition. But how many people do we know who have all of that and still feel empty? And how many quiet, sincere servants of Allah live content with little, yet their hearts are overflowing with gratitude? The peace you are looking for will never be found in the opinions of others. It will never be found in likes or comments. It will never be found in trends or attention. It is found in submission. It is found in sujood. It is found in the remembrance of Allah, where hearts find rest. And once you taste that peace, you begin to value it. You begin to protect it. You begin to walk away from arguments, from environments, from distractions, simply because they disturb that peace. You no longer chase drama. You no longer react to every insult. You no longer feel the need to defend yourself constantly, because you know that your value does not decrease just because someone fails to see it. You know that Allah sees what's in your heart, and that is enough. The truth is, you will never regret choosing peace over popularity. You will never regret walking away from a sin, even if it means walking alone. You will never regret turning down a gathering that displeases Allah. You will never regret holding your tongue instead of backbiting. You will never regret waking up for Fajr even when it's cold. Because every one of these decisions brings you closer to the one who never lets your efforts go to waste. One of the greatest blessings you can ever be gifted with is the courage to say no for the sake of Allah. It might sound simple, but it carries incredible weight. In a world that constantly pulls you in different directions, trying to shape your thoughts, influence your choices, and pressure you into conformity, being able to say no, I won't do this because it displeases my Creator, is not weakness, it is strength. It takes strength to resist the temptation to fit in when your heart is whispering that something is wrong. It takes strength to stand up, to walk away, and to choose the path of truth even when it comes with loneliness, criticism, or mockery. And it is in those moments that your sincerity is tested. Because it's easy to do what's right when everyone agrees, but true strength is doing what's right when no one else understands. There are situations that arise where you are invited to places, encouraged to engage in conversations, pressured to join trends, and expected to compromise your values just to avoid being different. But if every part of you feels uncomfortable, if your soul is restless, if your conscience is alive and alert, that is a sign from your Creator that this is not your place. Don't ignore that feeling. That uneasiness in your heart is not weakness, it is protection. It is mercy. It is a gentle warning from the Almighty, guiding you to preserve your honor and your peace. Because every time you say yes to what displeases Him, you say no to your own dignity. Every time you say yes to what your heart knows is wrong, you say no to the tranquility that comes with obedience. We live in a time when being different is seen as backward, when holding on to modesty is mocked, when guarding your tongue is called boring, when standing firm on principles is misunderstood. But you must remember that you are not here to please the people. You are here to fulfill your duty to the one who gave you breath. And if saying no to a friend means protecting your salah, if saying no to a relative means guarding your Imaan, if saying no to society means staying loyal to your values, then don't hesitate. Your soul is too precious to be traded for temporary acceptance. Your peace is too valuable to be shattered by a moment of weakness. Saying no is not about arrogance. It's about self-respect. It's about understanding the boundaries that protect your spirituality. When someone invites you to backbite, say no. When someone jokes inappropriately, say no. When someone encourages you to skip your prayer, say no. When someone pushes you to dress immodestly, say no. That single word spoken with sincerity can save your soul. It might distance you from people, but it will bring you closer to your Creator. It might make you unpopular, but it will make you beloved in the eyes of the angels, and that is a trade worth making. There is a moment in every believer's life when they have to choose between comfort and conviction, between what is easy and what is right. And in those moments, Shaitan whispers, just this once, it's not a big deal. Everyone is doing it, but you must respond, I wasn't created to follow everyone. I was created to follow what pleases Allah. The path of truth is often quiet. It is not lined with applause. It doesn't always bring fame or attention, but it brings peace. It brings a clean heart. It brings the smile of Allah upon you, even when the world frowns. Many people have built their lives around pleasing others. They say yes to everything out of fear of rejection, but the more they say yes to others, the more they lose themselves. Until one day, they don't even recognize who they've become. Their values are diluted, their soul is tired, and their heart is burdened. And all of it could have been prevented with a single sincere no. A no that protects your deen. A no that defends your dignity. A no that brings the pleasure of your Lord. And there is something even deeper that we must all reflect on. The greatest strength a person can possess is not in lifting heavy things. It is in lifting your soul above temptation. It is in the ability to say, I don't need this, I don't want this, I will walk away because it is better for my akhirah. This is true strength, and Allah sees every time you hold yourself back. Every time you want to speak but you stay silent. Every time you want to respond with anger but you choose patience. Every time you are tempted to sin but you lower your gaze. Every time you are pulled by the crowd but you walk the other way. These moments, though unseen by others, are celebrated by the angels. They are recorded by your Lord. They are not forgotten. And that brings us to another essential truth. So many people live for the spotlight. They are constantly performing. They smile in public, but they are crying in private. They act like everything is fine, but they are falling apart inside. They are wearing a mask, not to deceive, but to survive. But there is one place where you never have to wear a mask, and that is with your Creator. Take off the mask, be real with Him, cry to Him, admit your weakness, share your fears. You don't need to impress Him with your words, you need to impress Him with your sincerity. When you raise your hands in dua, when you bow your head in sajda, when you whisper your hopes in the darkness of the night, you are not speaking to someone who needs you to be perfect. You are speaking to the one who already knows how broken you are. And He still listens, He still loves, He still responds. You don't need to filter your emotions, you don't need to script your pain. Just be real. That is what He wants from you. A real heart, a sincere soul, a person who acknowledges their flaws and turns to Him anyway. This world teaches you to be strong on the outside, but your Lord teaches you that true strength is in humility. True power is in crying to Him. True freedom is in submitting to Him. And when you are real with Him, you begin to feel a peace that no one else can give. You begin to understand that you don't have to pretend, you don't have to compete, you don't have to perform. Your worth is not in how people see you. Your worth is in how close you are to Him. Many people spend their lives trying to look good for others. They speak in a certain way, dress in a certain way, behave in a certain way, all to gain praise. But praise is a drug. The more you get, the more you crave. And soon you become addicted to approval. But the moment you stop living for others and start living for your Lord, the moment you stop needing people to validate your worth, you begin to experience real peace. You realize that you don't have to keep proving yourself. You don't have to keep competing. You are already enough as long as your heart is sincere. Being real with Allah is the beginning of being real with yourself. And once you find that sincerity, you begin to treat others differently too. You don't flatter, you don't fake, you don't show off. You become genuine. Your smile is real. Your advice is heartfelt. Your actions are pure. And this is what gives life meaning. Not the show, not the attention, but the truth that lies behind your actions. The sincerity that flows from your heart. The purity that you try to preserve, even in a world that constantly tempts you to corrupt it. There is beauty in being simple. There is beauty in being honest. There is beauty in being someone who doesn't care for the spotlight, but whose light shines anyway. Because that light is not artificial. It's not coming from fame. It's coming from Imaan. And that light will guide you through every darkness, protect you from every deception, and lead you to the one who never leaves. In a world that glorifies appearances and pushes the soul into the shadows, one of the greatest forms of success is when you choose your salah over society. That moment when you hear the call to prayer and everything around you is calling you in a different direction, yet you pause, you disconnect from the noise, and you turn your face to the one who created you. That is not just an act of worship, that is a statement. It is a powerful reminder to your own self that your life is not dictated by trends, it is guided by truth. That moment of standing before your Lord while the rest of the world is busy chasing its distractions is what elevates your soul. Salah is not just a ritual, it is a reset. It is where your heart realigns. It is where your soul detoxes. It is where your wounds are healed, your sins are washed away, and your direction is renewed. Think about it. In those few moments of sujood, you are the closest to the one who fashioned your heart. The world cannot offer you that closeness. People cannot give you that peace. but your Lord has placed it within your reach 5 times a day. The question is, what are you willing to give up to receive it? Because often it is not that we don't have time to pray, it's that we've placed other things in a higher priority. A conversation, a meeting, a phone call, a television show, a shopping trip. These things come and go, but your prayer is an appointment with the King of Kings, the one who controls all outcomes, the one who can change your life in a second. And yet, how often do we delay, rush, or neglect the very act that brings us closest to Him? When you choose salah over society, you are not just making a scheduled choice, you are making a life choice. You are declaring that your values are not shaped by the people around you, but by the message revealed to you. When you pause your work, your scrolling, your entertainment, just to pray, you are reminding your heart that nothing is more urgent than bowing to the one who gave you breath. And when you leave a gathering, not to be rude, but to honor your prayer time, you are not losing anything. You are gaining everything. You are gaining barakah. You are gaining strength. You are gaining the company of the angels. You are choosing the eternal over the temporary. And that, my brothers and sisters, is real success. It is so easy to get swept away in the busyness of the world. 1 hour becomes 2. One missed prayer becomes a habit. One delay becomes a norm. And slowly your connection begins to weaken. Not because Allah is far, but because we drift. But Allah is so merciful that even if you've missed countless prayers, even if you've delayed your duties, the moment you turn back to Him, He is waiting with open arms. He does not tire of forgiving. He does not close the door on those who sincerely want to return. So don't let your past define your future. Don't let the habits of others influence your choices. You may be in a room where no one is praying, but you be the one who rises. You be the one who sets the example. You be the light in the darkness. There is something deeply powerful about choosing faith in an environment where it's not common. It takes courage, it takes sincerity, it takes conviction, and Allah knows how hard it is. He knows the sacrifice you make when you get up to pray while others are sleeping. He knows the pressure you feel when your colleagues are mocking your values. He knows the silence you keep when people are joking about sacred matters. He sees it all, and He records every act of courage, every drop of sincerity, every moment of resistance. So never think it's in vain. Never think it goes unnoticed. And this strength you build by choosing salah over society, it doesn't just benefit you in the hereafter. It changes your present life. It brings you clarity in confusion. It gives you calmness in chaos. It grants you guidance when everyone else is lost. Your prayer becomes your anchor. It holds you steady when the waves of this world try to shake you. And the more consistent you are, the stronger that anchor becomes. So protect it, guard it, honor it. Because once you lose that connection, everything else begins to crumble. But when your prayer is strong, your identity becomes strong. You no longer need to chase approval. You no longer fear being different. You begin to walk with dignity, not because of your name, your wealth, or your appearance, but because you are connected to the one who never abandons those who turn to Him. You start to realize that true beauty is not in being seen by the world, it's in being recognized by your Lord in the early hours when the world is asleep. It's in that secret sujood. It's in that tear you shed when no one is watching. It's in that sincere repentance. That is where your real worth is found. And from this realization comes the next powerful truth. Your worth is not in people's words. It is in your relationship with Allah. So many people live their lives trying to impress others. They wear what others want. They say what others want to hear. They live by the script handed to them by society, but inside they are suffocating. They are tired of pretending. They are tired of trying to be someone they're not. And the moment they stop and ask, what does Allah want from me? That is the moment they begin to breathe again. That is the moment they begin to live. Your worth is not in compliments. It is not in likes. It is not in being included in someone's guest list or being followed by strangers. Your worth is in your truth, your sincerity, your prayers, your tears, your repentance, your quiet moments of remembrance. That is who you are. And when you build your worth on that foundation, no one can take it from you. Because people's opinions are temporary. They change with time, with mood, with misunderstanding. But your relationship with Allah, if it's sincerely stable, it gives you a sense of self that is rooted in something eternal. When people praise you, it can feel good. But it doesn't always mean they know who you really are. And when they criticize you, it can hurt. But it doesn't define who you truly are. What defines you is your sincerity in private. What defines you is what you do when no one is watching. What defines you is how quickly you return to Allah when you fall. That is real character. That is real value. And once you understand this, you stop being a slave to people's approval. You stop chasing their praise. You stop fearing their rejection. You start living with freedom, a freedom that comes from knowing that your Creator sees your heart and that His pleasure is enough. There will always be people who misunderstand you. There will always be people who misjudge you. But don't let that break you. Don't let that define you. You were not created to live their expectations. You were created to live your purpose. And your purpose is to worship, to grow, to strive, to be sincere. So hold on to that. Let it guide you. Let it comfort you. And when you feel down, when you feel like no one sees your effort, remind yourself, my worth is with the one who sees what the eyes cannot see. My worth is with the one who knows what lies within. This realization also teaches you to value others for their sincerity, not their image. You begin to see through the noise. You begin to admire quiet kindness, hidden charity, unseen patience. You stop being impressed by performance. You start being drawn to hearts that are pure, to actions that are honest, to words that carry truth. And this shift changes how you live, how you speak, how you carry yourself. You stop trying to be loud. You start trying to be sincere. So live for the one who gave you life. Love the one who never stopped loving you. Please the one whose rewards never fade. And when you do, you will find a calmness in your soul that no one can steal. You'll walk through storms with peace. You'll face criticism with grace, and you will risen not because people pushed you, but because Allah lifted you. May Allah grant us the strength to stop living for people and start living for Him. May He make us sincere in our actions, firm in our faith, and beloved in His eye 7 if the world turns away. Ameen.